Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session in Python programming. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Sakshi.
Ma'am, I have given you the right so that we can start.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Welcome.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Oh, thank you. So in the last class, we started with file handling. Okay. And we have seen how do we open the file in different modes. Okay. Basically, we discussed two different modes. That is, how do I open the file in read mode and how do I open a file in write mode. Okay. And when we have opened the file, okay, first task is to you can add some content to the file or you can simply read the content from the file. Okay, basically these two tasks we have done. We have opened the file which already exists on our system, and later on we have read the content of the file. This is what we have covered. Also we have covered how do we create a new file. Okay, that means how do I create a new file and how do I add content to the already existing file, right? So let us move ahead and see what are the other modes which are available, right? So now we do have, for example, suppose if I look into this small program segment, right? So I just want to work with file2.txt, right? In write mode. Okay, what and all we are trying to do, we just want to write something to our file. Okay, whatever user inputs, that statement need to be added to the file. Okay, that is what I'm doing in this particular statement, right? F1 dot F1 dot txt F1 dot write input programming language 1. Input box will be prompted to the user. User will enter some text into that particular field. Okay, text field, and later on I'm explicitly writing the next line, so that next line need to be written in a new line. Okay, so in the second line, similar to this line, okay, again user will be prompted with some input. Okay, that input will be taken from the user, and that whatever user is inputting the content, that content need to be written to the file, right? So basically, what are we trying to do? We are trying to write, okay, programming language 1, for example, C, and later on programming language 2, let's say C++, and in the next line, what we do have something known as uh, till now, till this particular in this particular code, what we have done, we try to open the file and we try to write something to the file, some content to the file, and this C and C++ have been added to file2.txt. Okay, now what we want to do is we just want to create a file, right? So in append mode, right? So when we open a particular file in append mode, what happens? It basically opens the file, okay, opens the file, and it takes the file pointer to the end of the file, so that whatever content that we want to append, so it will be appended at the end of this particular file, right? So let's execute the statement. This time I'm entering as Python. Okay, so it has executed. When we have executed, that means we already exist in this particular file2.txt. C and C++ were already existing. and the same file we opened in append mode, and when we open any file in append mode, the cursor will move to the end of the file. That means file pointer will move to the end of the file so that user can append the content to the file now. Okay, so whenever I write one more write method, whenever I call one write method, okay, when I try to, that means I want to write something to the file. Okay, right now we are at the end of the file2.txt. Whatever user has done, has entered, so that content will be returned to the file. So explicitly, if we want to check, we can go and check. Just refresh once and you can go and check the content of the file. So you can check C, C++, and Python are overwritten. Initially, only C and C++ content were there, and later on, when we have opened the file in append mode, cursor has moved to the end of the file. So afterwards, this Python has been written. Like this, apart from reading the file, reading from the file or writing to the file, we can also open the file which already has been created. And if I want to append some content to the end of the file, we can do that with the help of append mode. Okay, fine. Next, move to this. Let me end this. What all other modes which are available with us? Let us try to explore those. We do have two more modes which again frequently being used. One mode is nothing but write plus mode. Okay, what this write plus does, it actually it is basically used to write and read data from the file. Okay, that means if I want to perform both the tasks, write as well as reading task, that can be done with the help of write plus mode. Okay, when we open a file in write plus mode, what happens? The data will get deleted in case the file already exists in the system, right? So whatever data that we have with the same file name, if I try to open the same file which already exists, but this time if I'm trying to open in write plus mode, then what happens? The data will get deleted in case it already exists, right? So the next one is read plus mode. Okay. When we open a file in R plus mode, what happens? It basically it is used to read and write data into the file, correct? And this time the contents will not get deleted whenever we are opening the file which already exists. So during that time, if I am opening in R plus mode, the content will not get deleted. Okay. Whereas if I open the file in write plus mode, if that data is there, okay, if the file is there, then the content will get erased off. Let us see the differences. There are two differences with respect to R plus and W plus modes. Okay, is the first difference. The first difference here is when I open the file in R plus mode, if the file not exists, then it will not create a new file. Okay, rather it will generate the error. Okay, we will illustrate this point as well. This means if the file already not existed in our system, then only it will generate the error. That means it will not create the new file for me. Whereas in case I open a particular file in write plus mode, then what happens? If the file not exists, okay, then it will create the new file. In this case, there is no error it is going to generate. Rather, it creates a new file with the file name that we are providing. Let us see the illustration, the difference between these two with the help of some illustration. Let us first of all see whether file3 exists or not. Okay, in our current directory, we do have some files, but not with the name of file3.txt. Okay, so you can see, you can read it out from here. Okay, whenever I try to open a file in R plus mode and the file does not exist, then it will not create the new file. Rather, it should generate the error. So let us see. See, no such file or directory with file3.txt that exists, right? Because file3 has not been created yet. Still we are right. Still we are trying to read and write to the file. So for that sake, it generates the error, correct? Whereas even though file3.txt not there in the system, but still if I try to open in write plus mode, it will not generate the error. Rather, you can go and check. Let us refresh. Okay. File3.txt is there, and because I have not written anything to the file3.txt, hence no content will have has been generated yet. Okay, but it has created the file because of this particular statement, right? Okay, let us move to the next part. What are we trying to do? We are trying to open the file. The name of the handler. Okay, this time we have changed. Okay, fine. Again, file3.txt in write mode, write plus w plus we are opening, and afterwards we are writing something to the already existing file. Okay, so you can see here, okay, file3.txt will be created and Python will be returned to the file. So this is the illustration of the first difference. When file does not exist, when we open the file in R plus mode, what happens? When we open the file in write plus mode, what happens, right? Let us see the next difference. The second difference is this. Okay, let me highlight it for you. The second difference is, if I open the file in R plus mode, okay, if I open the file in R plus mode, if the file exists, if the file already exists, then it does not delete the content of the file. Very important. Whereas if the file, if I open the file in write plus mode, if the file exists, then it deletes the content of the file. Okay, and new file will be and it deletes and it creates that particular file, right? So let us see again the differences. In this case, we have seen file2 has already been created, and let's see the content first. C, C++ and Python are written. Okay, so if I try to open the file which already exists in R plus mode, then what it should do, it should not generate any error. Rather, it should not delete the content of the file. In fact, what it should do, it should, I should be able to access that particular file. Okay, for example, here I have written, first of all, I have displayed the content of the file using read statement, using read method. Correct? So with the help of pointer, I'm able to display the content of the file. Okay. Afterwards, what I'm trying to do, I am writing content to the file also. Okay. So let us try to see. see, this is the content before I write anything to the file2.txt. Okay, and later on, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to write this particular statement. Let us go and check the content of file2. Be buffered. Right? You can check the content of the file. You will see, you will see this particular statement. Let me close this. You'll see this particular statement has been written twice to the file. This has written was due to previous execution of the cell, and this particular statement, next statement illustrating our statement is also executed the cell again in order to show you the content of the file2.txt. I've executed this particular statement twice, so you can even in fact verify from this as well. So inside file2.txt, earlier only this content was there. Only 4 languages we entered: C, C++, Python, and R. And later on, these were the contents which are saved earlier before performing this R+. When we opened the file in R+ mode, we tried to display the content. We have tried to display the content. This content was showing earlier, and later on I tried to write down the content to the file. So this is what it has been written to the file. Okay, and afterwards again when I executed second time, this is what it got printed. Okay, this is what it got printed. And second time when I executed this particular statement, it has been written, the last statement illustrating R plus and W plus has been written at the end of the file, right? So like this, this itself is illustrating that if the file exists, then it won't delete the content of the file. Even in fact, we have checked twice. Okay. Earlier file2.txt only C, C++, Python, R content were initially saved, and later on when we have executed this cell, even illustrating R plus and W plus was got saved. And later on when I executed second time, again opened the same file in R plus mode, and what it displayed the contents of the file, and later on again second time illustrating R plus and W plus have been saved, right, to the file. So this itself shows that if the file exists in the system, it does not delete the content of the file when we try to open the file in R plus mode. Correct? Okay, this I will come back. This I will illustrate what we mean by seek and tell methods. In a while, I will illustrate. Let us move to the next part. That is, if I try to open the same file, this time we all know that content of the file 2. I will show you content of the file 2 are this: C, C++, Python, R illustrating R plus and W plus illustrating R plus and W plus. Okay. Initially, this was the content of the file of file2.txt, and later on what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to open the file in write W plus mode. Let us see what was the second difference between R plus and W plus. When I open file W plus, if file exists, then it deletes the content of the file. Okay, so this situation we have already created for illustration. File 2 is already exist. So when I try to open W plus, then the content should get deleted. Correct? This I will illustrate what we mean by seek later on. So let us try to check this. You can see here file2.txt. When I try to open in write plus mode, you can go refresh it once and check the file. File2.txt. The earlier content erased off. Correct? So this particular statement return will be will be saved inside the buffer. So whenever we close the file, that will be flushed to the file. Okay? That would be returned to the file. These are the two main differences between opening a file in R plus mode and W plus mode. Right? So let us try to illustrate some more methods with respect to seek and tell method. These are very two important methods one should know while dealing with file handling. Let us see what are those. Okay. What is seek method? It actually moves the file pointer to different location. Okay. What are those different locations which are possible? Let us see. It actually takes two parameters. The first parameter is offset. The second parameter is where. Where, right? The offset means by how many number of bytes you want to move, right? Whereas where is indicating what? You want to take the action from the beginning of the file or from the current location, current position, or at the end of the file. Okay. This simply says whether you want to move the number of bytes from the beginning or from the current or from the end of the file, right? What we mean by tell. Tell, it actually returns the where my current position of the file pointer. Okay, it gives the current position of the file pointer. Fine. So let us try to illustrate how do we use seek and tell method with the help of some examples. Let me use this. So I just try to check content of file1.txt are all these 3 lines. Okay. Yesterday also we have seen the same file exists. Right. So let us try to check this. Right. File1.txt we have opened in read mode, and later on f using this same file pointer, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to move to 12th number of byte. Okay, at the 12th position I want to take my current position to. Okay, from where you want to take or from where you want to move. Okay, that where is given value as 0. That is from the beginning of the file. Okay, so when I execute this, it will take my current position, okay, to 12th byte. Okay, to the 12th byte, and that too with from where, from the beginning. It starts counting from the beginning and it will take me at the 12th position. And what this print f dot tell, it should actually return the current position. The current position, we ourselves took the pointer to 12th position, so this should display the result as 12. And later on, from the current position, you all know what we mean by f dot read. We have already seen how this particular method works. Okay, read method will reads the entire content of the file and it returns, right? So how it will return? It actually reads the content of the file from where the current position of my file pointer is. From that particular point, it will start reading the content. Usually when we open the file in read mode, it takes my file pointer to the beginning of the file. For that sake, whenever I read, I used till now, whenever I used this f.read command, so it has displayed the entire, or it has read the entire file. Why it has read the entire file? Because the file pointer was pointing to the first byte of the, or first position of the file. Okay, but what we have done, we have moved the cursor. Okay, we have moved the file pointer to the 12th position. So now when I try to use this particular statement, that is when I try to call this read method, it should actually start reading the content from the 12th position to the end of the file. And later on, I'm simply closing the file. You can check here. This is the result of my f.tell. Okay, I'm printing the content, so it gives the number of, it gives the current position of the file pointer. Because I have taken the file pointer at the 12th position, so it has showed here as 12. Okay, and from the 12th position, it will start printing till the end of the line. Okay, till the last end of the file. Fine. So this is how we can take, we can in fact make our cursor or make our file pointer to read the desired content of the file. Okay, I can move the content of, I can move the file pointer so that if I wish to write something to the file at the 5th byte or 5th position, I should be able to do it. If I want to read content from the 10th position onwards till the end, I should be able to do it. Right? So these are the advantage of using seek method. It actually takes the position of our file pointer at the desired location. Right? So let us move to the next one. Right, and then perform the read with the help of seek method. Okay. Till now, what we have done, we have illustrated with the help of seek method. Okay, illustrated seek method with the help with read mode. But in the next code segment, what we have done, we have opened the file and we have illustrated the seek method. Okay, seek method has been done later on after this code block, but illustrating seek method with the help of W plus mode. Okay, we are trying to create one file with first.txt, and that too, what are we trying to do? We are trying to write content as well as read the content of the file, that is W plus mode. Fine. So according to these 3 lines, it should be clear to you that some text box will be created, will be prompted, and user will give 2 inputs. Let me give the statement as first and second. Right? So I have entered 2 input. The first input is first and the second input is second. And what are we trying to do? We are, with the help of same file pointer, I am taking the file pointer to the first position. Okay, and afterwards I am reading the content of the file. All the content of the file should be read from the current position. Current position is at the first. So you know indexing starts with 0. So the first character should not be read. Okay, as you can see, as you can see here, first and second were written on in this particular first.txt file, in this first.txt file. And later on, what we have done, we have taken the cursor to the first position. That means indexing starts with 0, so f will not be printed. Why f will not be read? Because we have taken the cursor to the first position. That means my file pointer is pointing to I. Okay. Now, because it was pointing to I, so from this I, R, S, T, everything will be red, and even second will also be red. That means second itself is the end of the file. So till that particular file, it will read. Okay. This is what it has displayed. Fine. Okay. Now, what if I want to read from the end of the file? Okay. I have some file. I have a file. Content of the file are first, second. Okay. I started taking my pointer from the beginning of the pointer to this position, and from this particular position I started reading till I reach end of the file. What if I want to move from the end of the file? That means what if I want to take my file pointer instead of from at the beginning of the file, instead of taking the file pointer from the beginning of the file, I want to take the file pointer from the end of the file. So that could be done with the help of seek method again, but it is applicable for if you want to move back, uh, okay, or move back. Then what you can do is you can make use of binary files. Okay, till now we have worked with text files, but because we want to move from the backwards also, so for that sake we need to only binary file supports this functionality. Okay? So for that sake, one should create the binary file while for opening the file or for closing the file. Okay, again, let us illustrate how do we open the file in binary format. Okay. For example, I am trying to open the file sample1.bin. This itself indicates that the file is binary file, and because the mode also need to be changed, the R plus B. That means I want to read, I want to write, as well as the file is in the binary format. So that is what I need to inform, right? So this command, this statement is opening will illustrate is illustrating what it is illustrating opening the file in the binary format. Okay, and afterwards inside that file, what I'm trying to do, I'm simply trying to write something to the file. Okay, for example, B here is indicating that whatever content that I am writing to the file is in the binary mode. Okay, so for that sake, this B is required, right? So this is the content of the file that I'm going to write down to the file. And later on, and afterwards, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to take my file pointer at the 7th position. Okay, after this, okay, 7th position, not given the second argument, right? Parameter value. So in that case, what it will do, it considers by default, it takes as 0, that is beginning of the file. So from the beginning of the file, it goes to the 7th position. Okay, and afterwards, what it will do, what are we trying to do? We are trying to read n number of bytes. Okay, next n number of bytes. How many bytes will be read? 7 bytes will be read. Okay, so this read command, I am saying that if with the help of file pointer, read the n number of bytes, and afterwards you tell the current position of the file pointer. See, look at this. We have moved the file pointer to the 7th position. and later on I have read explicitly, I've read the next 7 bytes, and afterwards we are checking the current position of the file pointer. Okay, so let us illustrate this. It's already been executed. You can check this. So it's written as 14. Why this tell is returning 14? You all must understand, because it simply gives the current position of the file pointer. So initially I took my file pointer to the 7th position, to this particular position I took my file pointer to, and later on I read 7 bytes, right? These many characters, that method from this including this particular 7 including this particular space will comprise of what? Will comprise of 7 bytes. Okay, so this will be returned from, I took my file pointer to this particular position, that is currently my file pointer is pointing to this letter M, and from this letter I want to read next 7 characters. So method, this will be read, and afterwards I just want to check what is the current position of the file pointer, because I skipped first 7 characters and later on I read 7 characters, so it will be pointing to 14 byte, right? So that is what it has printed, right? So this 14 is result of the current position of the file pointer. I said earlier, instead of moving from the first beginning of the file, I can also move the file pointer from the end of the file. Okay, so how can I achieve that? You need to give negative indexing values. Okay, so negative indexing values. So fp.seek -8 comma 2. It is illustrating what? It is illustrating that 2 is first argument is what? It simply says how many bytes you want to move to. Okay, that is nothing but the offset. And the second value is indicating from where you want to. Okay, 0 is indicating from the beginning. 1 is indicating from the current, wherever your current position is pointing to, current pointer is pointing to. Whereas 2 is indicating from the end of the file. Currently, we do have end of the file, because this was the last statement that I've written to the sample1.pin. So from the current position, from the end of the file, how many bytes you want to move to? Okay, that is what I have written. I've written explicitly using -8. Correct. So let us see. -1 is indicating the last character. So when I write -8, so my file pointer will be pointing to L. Okay, because 2 is written, so for that sake I am counting from the backwards, right? So after that, when it is pointing to the L, what I am writing, fp.read of 8. That means I want to read next 8 characters. Okay, so because my file pointer is pointing to the L, okay, Lth character, so next 8 characters will be read. Okay, next 8 characters will be read, and it will be printed. So location should be printed out. Location should be printed out. Okay, so this completes the file handling topic. And if you have any doubts or queries, you can ask. Sakshi,
Yes, ma'am.
they can ask queries if they have. Let the participants ask if any doubts.
Okay, ma'am. Any doubt with anyone regarding today's session? Mute yourself and ask questions if you have. I'm pasting the attendance link in the chat window. I have pasted the attendance link in the chat window, everyone. So kindly check that and submit your attendance within next 10 minutes. I'm still asking about if you have any doubt, then you can ask that. Ma'am, can we end the session? I don't think there are any doubts over here.
Okay, Sakshi. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, and do submit your attendance within next 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you.